To step into your unstoppable success, think about, and if you haven't done this, really get clear and dream. Write down what you want. Where do you want to go? Really be clear on where you want to be and go and what direction you want to be in, and know your value.
Hey everyone, I'm Angeline Constantinou, and this is Her Unapologetic Voice. This podcast was created for women who lead but are done leading from apology. Here we have real, unfiltered conversations about boundaries, truth, and confidence. The kind of talks that remind you your voice is not something you find once, it's something you build. Every episode will give you something real to take with you, whether it's a boundary script, a reflection tool, or simply the courage to say what you really mean. So if you're ready to lead from your truth, not from approval, this is your space. Your unapologetic voice starts here. Hello, beautiful souls. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you are live streaming from. Today, we are going to be talking about owning your voice and building relationship capital. Welcome back to Her Unapologetic Voice podcast, the space where we break free from the silence, reclaim our voices, and step boldly into what we were always created to be. I am your host, Angeline Constantinou, and today's conversation is for the woman who knows she's meant for more. But maybe she's still learning how to fully own her voice, her boundaries, and her power. Because let's be real, so many women have spent years shrinking, second-guessing themselves, or waiting for permission. But today, we're shifting that. We're talking about what it truly means to become the CEO of you, to lead yourself, and to build powerful, meaningful relationships that open doors, not from a place of pressure or performance, but from authenticity and alignment. So I'm so excited to introduce today's guest. Jaclyn Strominger is a leadership strategist, author of Charting True North, and host of the Unstoppable Success podcast. For over 30 years, she has helped high achievers step into what she calls being the CEO of you, taking full ownership of their decisions, direction, and personal power. Her work centers on building relationship capital, the ability to turn meaningful connections into real opportunities, influence, and growth without being transactional. And on a deeper level, she supports individuals in strengthening their voice, boundaries, and self-trust, especially when past experiences have shaped how they show up in business and life. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the stage. And I'm so honored to have you here today.
So happy.
I know, I'm so happy. And what is the time where you are live streaming from?
It is 9:41 in the morning. I've already had an eventful morning. It's just, I start my day every morning with a workout. I have to take my dog for a walk. And when I walk my dog, I usually listen to some kind of like walking morning meditation kind of thing. Although this morning it was a little interrupted. There was a crazy driver coming down my street. So anyway, but and then, but it really just helps you, like for me, gets you going, headspace right. So it's 9:40, but I've been up since 5. I'm a 5 a.m.er.
Me too. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club.
Yep.
And sometimes you're up earlier too. See?
Yep. Oh yeah. Sometimes you're up earlier.
There you go. Jaclyn and I had the pleasure of meeting not just once, but twice.
Yeah.
At New York City Mastermind Experience in Tampa, Florida. First was New York City where it was freezing, and then in December, but then in Tampa it was a lot warmer.
Yeah, it was a lot warmer.
Yeah, she's amazing, and she was a sponsor of that event. But now I want to start right here. So what led you into this work of leadership and relationship capital?
It was one of those things that it kind of like hits you, right? You wake up one morning and you're just kind of like, it's like the line in the sand. I want to do something so things don't happen to other people. And so what is that? Why did I go down this path and how did I get here? So I think we've all experienced maybe we haven't. And if you haven't experienced this, kudos to you. The boss who doesn't really understand where you want to go. You're working, right? But you're maybe silenced because, or put down or pushed to a side because you have a different dream than what they want you to do. And so this actually happened to me numerous times where I was in a position. I love the field I was in. I was in consumer marketing for a magazine publishing. And I had this desire. I did consumer marketing. It was great. Right side, left side, brain. But I wanted to do something different. I was sitting behind a desk and I felt like I was not meant to be behind a desk. I'm like, oh, I want to go into sales. Like I want to try. I'm like young. Let me just throw my hat in and talk to the publisher. He was all for it. Went to talk to, I said something to the CEO, my boss, my VP of consumer marketing, and he squashed it, just completely. And so I felt like I was like in this trap, right? And that's where, for me, that was like one of the first instances of leadership where I was like, oh my God, he's horrid. Like, I want someone to see me for something else, like beyond, like see where I want to go. And then there was another time where I was squashed again, where I had this idea that I was at a magazine, and I had this idea, like, let me just kind of see what it would be like to run numbers about if we could go into larger print. Our audience was older. Let me see what the cost would be, and I'd like to make a presentation to propose this, right? And so on the side, I mean, I talked to one of the people that happened to be in the print department, and I said, could you work on this with me? Anyway, again, I got squashed. Like, don't you dare try to do whatever. And I kept thinking, I've got more to offer, right?
Oh.
So having your voice and knowing who you are, at that time, I was pretty, in that state of I'm secure but insecure. I'm secure but I'm insecure, right? So as I expanded and grew personally, and I left that position, because like once you're squashed a few times, you're like, I am done. So you move on, right? And so as I was going, this was where I kept thinking, I want to help other people be better leaders and help others be able to work with leaders to get their voice out, to know what they want to do and not be squashed. Don't be squashed. And making sure that you have that path, like where do you want to go? And it's one of those things that I felt that also, that I want to help people just stay on a course, right? So you go to college or you have a plan, right? You think, right? So when I left school, I'm like, okay, I want to go into magazine publishing. This is what I want to do. I want to work my
Right.
way up. I want to do blah, 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 blah. And then I get into those positions, and there was like so many things that were pushing down on me to not go where I wanted to go, and I didn't have somebody else that was in my court saying, who cares about what they're saying, Jaclyn, just go for it, right? And so,
Right.
and I wasn't strong enough for myself. I want to make it so that everybody's strong enough. I want to make it so that, because what happens is that we stop being the CEO of ourselves. We stop realizing where we want to go. So this is where being the CEO of you really matters. You need to know your plan, your dreams, your vision, and not to get caught up. This was a key thing, not to get caught up in a career path, even though somebody's telling you, oh, you don't need to do that, and you're seeing somebody who may be in like 3 or 4 steps ahead of you, and they're telling you X, but you're in the back of your mind, you're saying, but no, I really want this. They don't want, there's that that fight, right? I want to make sure that each and every person is able to fight for themselves. Again, be that CEO of you, find that voice, and also help leaders pull out everybody's greatness. Each and every one of us has superpowers. So great leader is going to say, okay, Angeline, your superpower, you are great at, XYZ. We want to amplify that. And so we need to be able to have leaders be able to do that, and have people be able to lead themselves so that they can amplify their own superpowers.
Exactly, because we all have a superpower. And I myself used to work in corporate America, and I know that feeling all too well. Just Yeah, being squashed.
Right? And we shouldn't. And it's on my podcast. I have one of the things that we talk about is people who have had great leaders in their lives, or
Sure.
leaders, mentors. And it's amazing to me to see the trajectory of these people, because it's phenomenal to see where they've been able to go, and let alone where they've been able to help other people go because they've had great leadership, right? And so when we start talking, it's like, okay, how, helping your people on your team gain clarity in where they want to go. What do
Mm,
they want to do? Where do they want to be in their lives? Where do they see themselves? We have a set amount of time on this planet. So when your time comes to the end, how do you want people to aim, like, how do you want to have left the planet? If
right.
you can leave it a little bit better, or you can have inspired somebody else, what's the impact that we're making? And it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be that you donated $1 billion to end world peace. It could be that you helped 10 people. 10
Exactly.
people, you made a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Impact. Creating
Impact, right?
impact. That's what it's all about. And I know that so many women and men, some men do struggle to use their voice, especially after difficult or painful experiences, what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So, from what you've seen, what tends to hold them back the most from fully owning their voice and reaching their greatest potential?
I think one of the things that stops people, there's that fear of what somebody else is going to say, or how they're going to be the response of other people, right? How are they going to see me? How, if I say this, and it's over time when our voice has been squashed, right? We have that fear of actually letting it come out. And so there's been so many things against us, and it takes little baby steps of making those changes so that you have the confidence to get your voice to come out. And I shared this story in a little bit of the story when we were in Tampa. For myself, I grew up looking a little bit different than I do with what you see me right this minute. When I was born, I was preemie, so my left eye was crossed and my right eye was straight. And then I got my left eye fixed, and then my right eye started going that way. It would go in or it out. Like, if I was looking straight at you, my right eye might have a mind of its own, and it might look elsewhere. I'd look at you, and you might go like this. You might turn your head because, like, oh, where's she looking? Because
Yeah.
you didn't. It was difficult, right? And my nose was, I had a schnoz. Like, my nose was so freaking big, it wasn't even funny. And I shared this, that I used to be able to take my tongue and take it, touch the top of my nose. It doesn't get anywhere near the top of my nose. So just think, the tip of my nose used to come all the way down to, I mean, it was big and wide, right? So very, like, to say that I was insecure was really an understatement. Like, insecure to the core. And it didn't also help that my parents, who thought that they were meaning well, would say to me, "Oh, don't worry, Jaclyn, don't worry. When you're 16, we'll get that nose fixed." You tell that to a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, you're like, obviously I'm disfigured and I don't look very good.
Very good. Oh my gosh.
Okay. But I say this because it took courage for me to be able to walk up to people and introduce myself. And so one of the biggest things that I learned, and this is where your voice matters, and being able to take those steps so that we can get over that fear of using our voice. Because once you find it, you don't want to ever squash it, and you want to make sure that nobody's voice is ever squashed. Once I was able to, I was able to shake lots of hands, but I never wanted to get people to get to know me because I was afraid of being rejected, right? There was that fear
Mm,
of rejection, which is a lot of times what happens with when people have their voice squashed. There's that fear of being rejected, or the fear of being squashed again. So we take these little baby steps. We put ourselves in uncomfortable positions, right? We have to get outside of our comfort zone. We have to stop being in that, because that we get comfortable being where we are, right? We get
right.
comfortable being pushed back in. And in order to get out, we have to get a little uncomfortable. So we take little baby steps. That's one of the things that we do. Okay, what can we do to help you make that one step to use your voice, to introduce yourself to somebody, or open up to somebody else so that you can actually get comfortable sharing, that you can get comfortable letting people in. So when
Sure.
you let, right? So when you let people in, it's amazing what comes back out.
I
Anyway, so
love
that's where when you're asking, like, when we're put in those places of being diminished, for lack of a better word, right?
I
We
know.
have to get out of that. We have to find that voice and take little steps. And then I mean, what I love doing is like cheering people on. It's like, okay, celebrate that little win. Oh, you did that, great. Like, what
Mm.
do you got to do to celebrate? Celebrate every little step that you take, because it's those little wins that make big wins.
And I was just about to say that. I always encourage my clients, and I have a community, Facebook community, celebrate your wins. It doesn't matter how small it is, because it's baby steps, small steps. The small wins lead to the big wins. But you have to first
Right.
start smaller, because some women get overwhelmed. I've seen
Yeah.
that. Like, they compare themselves to these influencers. Why am I not there yet? So what would you say to that? What would you say to her?
Somebody who said they're not there yet. The thing is that you don't understand. You don't know how long it took that influencer to get there, right? You don't
There you
know
go.
what they did. You
No.
don't know how long it took. So we don't compare. It's
Mm.
the 10-year overnight success. You don't see all the back work. You don't see the star, the person doing all the stuff in the background, what they had to do to get there. You just see when they go big, because that's when they've
Right.
gone big. Think about like I'll pick some famous people that I absolutely freaking adore. Think about Steve Martin. Steve Martin has been super
Mm.
funny, crazy. And how many times have you heard the story where he stunk at telling jokes? And it wasn't that he really stunk. He just didn't own his craft. He had to get good at it. He had to work at it. And you didn't, you hear the backstory of, he may have been funny, but he wasn't there yet. He had to work at it. So we don't always see the work that somebody had to put in to be that millions whatever influencer. It takes time and effort. So
Exactly.
my question to anybody is be patient, be
Mm.
consistent, do the work, and it will happen. It's
I,
the same thing with like weight, right? You don't wake up in the morning you don't automatically wake up in the morning like 100 pounds heavier. No, like it just doesn't happen overnight. It's over time actions that have happened. And it's the
sure.
same way to take it off. Actions happen. If you are consistent, it will come off. But what happens? How do you do it? Consistently, garbage in, garbage out. Good
Hmm.
in, good out, right? So it's the same thing
Exactly.
with our brain. Tell yourself, if you keep telling yourself, why am I not there yet? No, 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 no. Say, I'm going to be there. I'm working at it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to work at it. I'm going to have this. I'm going to work at it. I'm working at it. I'm going to be there. Tell yourself, you can tell yourself what you want to tell yourself, but you might as
Mhm.
well tell yourself good stuff.
Sure. Exactly. Tell yourself the good stuff. And I agree with you. You can't compare someone's chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20.
Exactly.
It took them so many years. And speaking for myself, same thing. It took years of work. I put in the work. Are you a local business owner in Stewart looking to get your brand in front of the right audience? My name is Angeline, and I am the host and founder of Let's Break the Silence, a podcast dedicated to empowering women to heal, rebuild their confidence, and step into their next chapter. I'm currently partnering with a select number of local businesses who want more visibility and deeper connection with women who are actively investing in themselves, whether that's through wellness, beauty, personal growth, or lifestyle. This isn't just about advertising. It's about building real partnerships and highlighting businesses that are truly making an impact in our community. If that sounds like you, I would love to connect. Please send me a message or reach out. Let's collaborate and grow together.
Again, things don't happen overnight. Again, we only see comparison is to compare ourselves to somebody else. It's painful. It hurts. I would tell you anybody, stop comparing. And if you have, and this was actually something, and I'll be honest, like, not that I'm not honest, but I was in this one company and I would see all these people get awards and whatnot. And it was really hard for me. And it became more of a negative than a positive for me to see this. Not that I didn't want to celebrate these people, because I did, but I would get angry with myself for not doing the work that I thought that I should be doing, right? It was more negative to me. One of the things that I did was, is like, okay, well, you know what, Jaclyn, gonna if it's not gonna feel good, remove yourself from that. Like, what are the things that you can do that you could actually change the narrative that you're telling yourself while you're hearing other people? You have to tell yourself a different story. So I'm like, I have to tell myself I can do that. It was the narrative that I was telling myself so I could say, you know what? I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm going to, like, I can do it too. And so when you change the narrative that you tell yourself, again, you have a choice. You can either tell yourself something negative or tell yourself something positive. So when you tell yourself something positive, the positive will happen. I mean, good happens and you feel better, right?
Exactly. You're 100% right. And I love that. So I'm so glad that we had talked about that, because it's like, it's the world that we live in today. It's people wanting more and more. I mean, it's good. But like, on the other hand, if you're just like comparing yourself to, let's say, Grant Cardone or something, I'm just throwing
Right.
out. He put in years of work, everyone. It wasn't luck. Nothing was handed to him on a silver platter.
No, it's right. It takes work. And I think that's actually the other, really the hard thing is that you're on a journey, right? And so your journey is your journey, right? We can't compare. Life takes us down different roads, and we just have to celebrate the road that we've been on and the paths that we've been on, and they make you who you are. And so we want to be able to celebrate those parts, right? And you have to think, I mean, if you want to say to yourself, okay, well, I haven't hit X number, whatever. I always love to say, I think Warren Buffett didn't hit his first billion until he was 65. You've got plenty of time.
And it's going to take time to make $1 million, but it's what you have to break your goals down into baby steps and do the work. Sitting on the sofa, eating a bag of chips, not going to get you there.
No. And as a matter of fact, actually, so this is kind of interesting. And it's very difficult for me, very, very difficult. And I'm going to share this. So, one of my children is he has to take the AP test. And this morning he got up and he has 2 study periods so he can get to school late. And what was he doing?
Eating a bag of chips.
No, he was watching, well, to me, it was eating a bag of chips. He was watching some dumbass cartoon on the TV. And so I'm trying not to be judgmental and I'm like, so what is that doing for your AP test studying?
So what do you say? Nothing.
He's like, Mom, I can't be studying every minute. I'm like, yes, you can.
Of course you can.
But again, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right,
So,
there you go. Garbage in, garbage
I will
out.
say, but he is a great student. But at the same time, it was like I think of things like that, like, what are you feeding your brain, right? Are you
There you
feeding
go. There you
yourself,
go.
right? So I was like, okay, well, what could you feed your brain better this morning that might be a little bit more make you happy or make you different and or like enhance your life versus, I mean, a cartoon can be fun and it's funny, but is it really teaching you anything? Like, what is it teaching
Exactly.
you? When I was in college, I would see some of my sorority sisters playing some video game. I was like, that's brain rot.
Right.
Like, what is that doing for you? Don't you want to be outside or go do something that's filling your cup versus, I don't know. You can tell I'm not a big fan of video games, and I mean, not that
I'm
TV
not
is
either.
bad. Like, I will say that I do watch. There are a couple of TV shows that I will watch, but it's like, okay, I watch, but what do I have in front of me? I'm like, I've got my computer in front of me, and I'm usually doing
Me too.
something,
I may watch
right?
something at night too, but I have my laptop in front of me. It's over there on the couch at night. I'm working on something, but that's different.
It's like
Anyway,
noise in the background, right? For me.
exactly. It's noise. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you shared that. Let's talk about relationship capital, because I think a lot of people hear networking and they feel either intimidated or disconnected from it. So how is relationship capital different from traditional networking?
Okay, so when you think about regular networking, what do you think about, right? You think about you walk into a place and people are all like, how many cards can I collect?
Oh yeah,
I want to collect
that's
as many
what I
cards
think
as I
about.
can, right? Right. I want to collect as many, or you walk into a place and sometimes you might know people, and out of comfort, you go and talk to people that you know. So relationship capital is about really thinking differently about have you make those connections. So instead of thinking about collecting as many cards as possible, think about, oh, I want to have 5 solid conversations. And I want to have a conversation where I can think, okay, how can I serve Angeline? What can I do to help
Mhm.
Angeline? Or what can I do to help people? So come at things from being of service and of curiosity. So if we are walking into a regular in-person event, think about questions you might be able to ask somebody that has nothing to do about what you do or about what they might do, because maybe you haven't met them yet. What can you ask them to help learn about the person? Where are you from? Are you from here originally? Do you like all 4 seasons, or do you have a favorite season? Right now it's spring. Do you have a green thumb or a brown one? Think about things that you could ask somebody. It's like, and if you're
Mm.
obviously in a networking event, you could ask questions like, what are you doing these days that's really filling your cup, right? What are you doing? Or you could ask, what are you most excited about right now? Or let's just say you're at a networking event at a restaurant. Have you been to this restaurant before? Or you could ask a question, something on the lines of getting to know them a little bit more would be, what is one New Year's resolution that you decided to do? And you didn't say goal, you didn't say business, but like a New Year's resolution. Like New Year's
Right.
resolutions I consider are like different than business
That's
goals, right?
different. Yeah.
So, but ask people questions. Do you have kids? Do you have teenagers? Ask people things about them. And I always say, if you think of like 5 questions you can ask, what are 5 questions that you can ask that have nothing to do with business that gets you to know something about the person? And when I say that's relationship capital, because it's when you think about networking, you're just thinking about who can I meet in this network that's going to actually help me with my business, No, who cares about your business,
Right.
right? So take that out and think about, again, how you can help people, and think about how you get to know people, because you want to build true relationships. And so I want to share, because I'm sure whether if listeners have a business, they're on LinkedIn or they're on Facebook or they're on name the platform, we get pitched day in and day out. And I'll share. This morning I made a connection with somebody. It was quite interesting because I think she had an AI bot respond because it didn't relate to what I said. And then what it came back was with, if we could help you take your expertise and put it into a course and help sell it and blah, blah, blah. And so I responded back saying, thank you so much. By the way, I already have a company that I am working with. By the way, and just a little bit about how I do business is I don't do business with anyone until I've had a few conversations with the person so that
Right.
I can get to know, like, and trust them. And so, it might not even be the word, it should be like, I like to sometimes change the word trust to believe. I know, like, and believe in them, because trust is something that is really earned over a long period of time. But at least I can believe in them. I can believe in what they're saying. How you make those introductions are so important. Now, if I was actually in the market, maybe for this type of service, I might have said, I am curious. But the way that it came across, because my initial response, like connection message to her, was something, I like building true connections and meaningful relationships with people. Here's my calendar link. I would love to learn more about you. I don't want to know about your business yet.
And a lot of people walk into like the chamber meetings, they walk in with that mindset that, it
Right,
feels like it's more transactional and it's
right.
inauthentic, because that used to happen to me. That's honestly one of the reasons why I stopped going to chamber networking events, because I felt it wasn't meaningful for me.
Right. I want to ask, the biggest question I can ask is, how many times have you given out your business card
Yes.
and the person has said, I'm going to call you?
It actually happened 2 weeks ago. She hasn't called me.
Please do me the favor. Like, to build relationship capital, you have to think about the way I look at relationship capital is having a conversation with somebody and building a relationship and knowing that you are one person. The person that you're talking to knows a ton of other people. So if you take you times the person and that person to the nth of how many people they know,
Mm.
that's huge. That means we've heard the saying before, you're like one conversation away from greatness, or you're one conversation
Good,
away from
good.
some next big thing. Think about it in that regard, because you're building relationship capital. And the goal is money. I know Angeline, I'm going to be like, okay, I know 5 people that I know that Angeline needs to speak to. So I'm going to go out and make those introductions. I want to make sure that she's connected with X, Y, and Z, right?
Mhm.
Because when I do that, first of all, it feels really great. It fills my cup to make those introductions.
Right.
And then, down the road, maybe Angeline's going to introduce me to somebody, or maybe
Sure.
somebody that she knows is going to be like, oh, Jaclyn, you need to have this conversation. It's not just, and not just, and it could be that maybe Angeline never introduces me to anybody. It doesn't matter. It matters that I did that. And that's capital to me, because it's building your connections
Hmm.
really make up who you are. And if you can help somebody else, it comes back.
Well,
Trust
it
me,
will
it
come
will come
back
back.
because you know why? The universe rewards action. That's why. The
Right.
universe, God in the universe sees what you're doing. And actually, you did introduce me to 2 beautiful women, the Dash to Divorce podcast, and we
Yeah.
did a recording last week. So you see that? You see that,
Right.
everyone? See? And it feels good. Like I've done the
Right.
same thing. I've put people, and I'm going to do the same for you, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's not
Right.
this, what we're saying is this. This is how it should be. This
Right.
is how, I don't like to use the word should, but it's like, this is how we should be working, like now. Like, be of service to someone. Like, you meet someone, get to know them. And I did this actually a month ago. I was out at brunch. There was a girl sitting by herself, and I just happened to go to the bar to have brunch. And we talked for 1 hour.
Right.
Nothing about business, nothing. Just, I wanted to get to know her.
I feel like that's like the one thing, again,
Mhm.
relationship capital is every person that you connect with is a person that can bring you, or that you could bring to somebody else. So
Right.
we don't want to be afraid of conversations. We want to have those conversations that are going to pull things out of each other so that we can lift each other up. And that when you lift somebody else up, and I go out and I introduce you to somebody that I know, that helps lift you up. And
True.
by the same way, then it lifts me up, because again, it fills my cup. Because it's so great to make those connections and those introductions. It just puts a smile on your face. You're like, yay! Like,
Yeah,
right? So I'll share something else.
exactly.
So my book, Charting True North, I actually co-authored it
Well,
with
let's talk
somebody.
about that. Yeah. Charting
All
True
right.
North. Let's talk about it.
So Charting True North is actually a leadership workbook. And it's for people who are both CEOs, executives, but you have to understand, each and every one of us is a CEO. We're the CEO of our own lives. So what does
Mhm.
that mean? So it helps you get clarity on who you are, what your values are, and it's a true workbook where it actually has prompts in there for you to actually write down and journal. So I hate journaling because I'm like, what am I going to do? But I love the book because I have my prompt. Okay, so what was if I got to the page of fear? What was
Right.
what stopped me in fear today? Or what was something what did I smile about today? Like, so it helps, it has prompts in there, and then it has 30 days of leadership reflection. How did you lead today? And we have to think about leadership as the people that are around us. Maybe you don't have a team of people right now, but you're always a leader. How you show up and how
Sure.
you act really matters. And I always have to remind myself of that, because there are days, we all have those days where somebody does something, or you have a bad business relationship and you want to, but whatever. And then I think, okay, how do I want somebody else to show up? How would I want them to show up for me? And
Right.
how do I want to leave this conversation? Think about that as leading by example. We're always modeling, whether we realize it or not. We're always modeling behavior.
Exactly.
So the book just has a little bit of education, and then there's exercises for you to go through that help pull out those key leadership traits that will help you be a great leader. And as we say, charting true north, it's going to help you chart your true north.
There you go. There you go. And where can people reach you? We just put
So
this out.
my website, jaclynstrominger.com. So yes, I'll spell Jaclyn as Jaclyn, and Strominger is phonetic, so
I like it.
Strominger. So jaclynstrominger.com. You can get the book The book is actually on Amazon. I have my podcast, Unstoppable Success. So I invite you all to take a listen. It's on all of the different channels, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'm super excited about our brand new community on School, Unstoppable Success. It's a great community on School, and we're doing some really great things in there. It's right now it's free, but we do a power hour. So today, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we actually have a power hour. And what do we do for power hour? We actually work together, because entrepreneurship and business can sometimes be lonely. So we actually get people together to actually get on, whether you're going to be doing your social media posts, making phone calls to reach out. What is it that you need to act on? Join us for Power Hour in School. And then we've got courses that are coming out in there. One of the things that we are also doing is we are going to be doing monthly roundtable discussions, and we'll have a speaker come. I shouldn't say a speaker, but a guest come and be with us. Somebody who has some type of influence. So it could be somebody who is a speaking coach, or it could be somebody who's really good at using AI for different things. So we'll have different people just come in and be a guest and share some of their wisdom, not necessarily speak, but where people can ask questions, and like we'll queue it up for the week and saying, so and so is going to be on. Come and share some questions. They're an open book.
I love it. And I love the School community. I'm going to join your community. I love School. Because I belong to several. It's great. I love it.
Right now it's free for the first sort of 100 people. So get in while it's free.
Okay. I love that. So it's free for now, everyone. So make sure you get in now. All right. And to close this out, what is one step that she can take today to begin stepping into her unstoppable success?
To step into your unstoppable success, think about, and if you haven't done this, really get clear and dream. Write down what you want. Where do you want to go? Really be clear on where you want to be and go, and what direction you want to be in, and know your values. So take that step of writing out, whether it's a clarity statement, your mission statement, lock that in. And then I'm going to give you 2 steps, because I always do 2. And then look at what you are doing every day. I actually just shared this on my in my newsletter. Look at what you want to be clear on doing and where you want to go. And look at your calendar and look at the activities that are on your calendar. If they are crisscrossed and not aligned, it's time for some realignment.
Time for realignment is right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this was a very powerful conversation today, Jaclyn. Thank you so much. And to everyone listening to the podcast, let this be a reminder that you don't need permission to rise. You don't need validation to use your voice. And you don't need to have everything figured out to start leading your life differently. The moment that you decide to trust yourself, to set boundaries, to show up fully as who you are, everything begins to shift. If this episode spoke to you, please share this episode out with a friend or a colleague who needs to hear this powerful message. And let's work together to help you reclaim your voice, rebuild your confidence, and step into the life you were always meant to live. And if you've loved this episode, notice I said loved, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another woman who needs this message today. Her Unapologetic Voice is on Spotify, Apple, and all the live streaming platforms that you listen to, including YouTube at Her Unapologetic Voice. And please follow us on Instagram at Unapologetic Voices, because your voice matters, your story matters, and your next chapter is waiting for you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep rising, and keep using your voice unapologetically. Jaclyn, this was a pleasure. Bye. Thank you for listening to Her Unapologetic Voice. Every conversation here is meant to help you build confidence from the inside out and find strength in your own words. If today's message resonated, follow the show and share it with a friend who's ready to lead from who she truly is. You can also connect with me on social media at Her Unapologetic Voice podcast for updates and behind the scenes insights. Remember, confidence begins when you stop apologizing for your truth and start speaking from it. I'm Angeline Constantinou, and I will see you in the next episode.